Hello, I would like to welcome you to our podcast of the project Digital Transformation of Inclusive Youth Work and our short talk with one of authors of our manual, Youth in Digital Environment. What we are going to talk about it in this short podcast is where our authors found idea for the topics, but you will see in our webinars, and why those topics are important in their daily work. On my left side, I would like to present you Nedim. Nedim is a professional youth worker and author of a lot of manuals for youth work and youth workers. On my right side is Amar, and Amar is also a professional youth worker who works a lot of on a lot of manuals for youth workers. So I would like to ask, let's start with Nedim, to ask him, why did you choose those topics for your manual or our manual on the youth in the digital environment?
Thank you, Franjo. So we discussed in this manual, we cover the topics of media literacy, cyberbullying and internet addiction as the three most presented topics, and we cover a bit more of them, but more or less we are covering the media literacy, some first level, maybe some surface level of media literacy. We have chosen those topics based on years of our experience, mostly working in international youth work environment, working across EU countries and working with different youth organizations, different companies and formal educational institutions. And based on our experience so far, nevertheless, when we think that maybe media literacy is a topic that is covered a lot, we still, when we meet each new group of youth workers on international activities, we see the need in them, and they share the need that they are missing practical tools, that they are in need of additional tools that they might use in their local activities, and they can easily adjust. Based on that, that was like our starting point, and based on that we developed all of the content and approach. Still, it's something that is maybe on the surface level. We are not diving that much into the topic, but we wanted to create more of a practical activities that can be easily used and that can be easily presented and easily adjusted to different groups, because sometimes we work with teachers, with professors coming from formal educational sector. Sometimes we work with volunteers and youngsters and young educators coming from youth organizations, and we wanted to be applicable as much for them as it is for youth workers.
So Amar, what is your opinion about this topic? Why those topics, in your opinion, are important for youth workers and especially for young participants?
Yeah, from my experience working generally in the youth work addressing the topic of digital transformation, if you look at the definition of digital transformation, those topics are in the core of the digital transformation. So we cannot have these young people getting more ready to go deeper and dive deeper into the world of the digital technologies if they do not have at least basic competencies in the topic that we are mentioning. And also from our work at both local and international level, what is really good that I like about those topics and the workshops, that they can be, this is a problem we have at general European level. So there is not any specific country in the Europe that is maybe on the bit higher level, but this is the problems we are facing now and every day in each country. So the workshop we developed and the topics that we choose will be tailored for the needs of all youth workers across the Europe, all youth work practitioners, to be able to address them with the young people, especially when we speak about digital world, about virtual world. All the threats are getting general, and all the threats are going much faster. So now if someone posts some hate speech or some false information online, it can get easily viral in the matter of seconds, not even the minutes. And this is the new reality that we have to prepare both our young people and both our youth workers how to fight it, how to keep safe, how to keep good, and how to keep their well-being in this digital environment.
For me personally, there are two topics which are quite important as from my professional background. internet addiction and the cyberbullying. They are quite, let's call them new topics, but again, not new topics. How fast can you catch as a trainers those topics, development of those topics and all materials and all changes inside of it?
Basically, in this material, we try to cover the basics. And of course, as Amar said, we are living in rapidly growing and rapidly changing world. A lot of things, especially connected to digital surrounding and digital environment, are changing as we speak. And new forms, of course, of when we talk about cyberbullying and when we talk about addiction, new forms of addiction and cyberbullying are created as we speak. We wanted to cover some basics, and as I said in the beginning, we didn't go that much into depth. This is more of a material that is there to be used as a good foundation to further discuss later on with participants from different groups. Again, from the field, from our experience and from knowing the realities and from our personal work in digital sector, we know it would not be applicable in 2-3 years if we would cover the currently active approaches that bots use online, currently active ways of how to fight internet addiction, because in 2-3 years we would definitely have new forms and formats of both the cyberbullying and internet addiction.
And maybe just to add on this part, when we speak about youth work, we are now working with the young people who are digital natives, who are born with the digital technology devices in their hands. So also for us as a youth workers, it's important to follow their rhythm. As they are developing, as technologies are developing, also threats are getting more advanced, and those young people in the lower ages with the lower level of digital competences are getting involved in these threats and the scams online. So this is why for us as a youth worker, it's also important to keep our digital competencies, to keep our knowledge of the realities around us in the digital environment at the higher level at the all time.
As you mentioned that those new generations are called digital natives. How hard is for you as a youth worker is to work with that generation of digital natives, as you wrote it in this manual together with Nedim, that some sessions are like from 40-90 minutes. How hard is for that generation to hold the present on the activity or on the training or educational program?
Mm-hmm. This is something that we were also really aware from our experience when we were developing this manual, that maybe something that we used a few years ago that's still addressing the topic, even if it's topically related, contently related, still up to date. The method that we might use to address it will not be any more up to date, especially when working with the young people, that their attention span went to the TikTok video or Instagram reels that is just a few seconds. They're not ready anymore to read long Facebook posts that maybe we used some years ago. So this is something that we took seriously into consideration when developing these workshops. Apart from the part that they can also be implemented in the face-to-face and also digital environment. So each workshop there are special tips and tricks for the facilitators and trainers who wants to implement it, how to do it in the online environment. That is something that could be maybe closer to this generation of digital natives. Maybe if we develop some educational poster, they will not be willing to write these posters anymore by hand, but they will be using Canva already at the level that we cannot imagine that they can be advanced. So this is something that we took into the consideration in developing the materials to make it up to date and to make it based on the needs of the target groups we are working with.
And maybe also to add both, so the sessions themselves are presented in a way to be implemented in face-to-face environment, and they have suggestions on what tools to use to be presented online. But besides that, each specific activity in the session is dedicated in a way that they are more it's more participatory learning, and learning through activities, more experiential learning, rather than it is just giving inputs and presentations for youngsters. And the second important thing is that in a lot of workshops there is need actually to use devices to further research some topic, to be able to participate in some assignments. So this is also another way how we try to adapt it to new generations of participants that would come and be part of these workshops, especially those workshops that youth workers will then implement in their activities, or educators or teachers, etc.
how was the process of writing this manual for you? Because there is quite a lot of material inside the written, and how I could see it, a lot of those materials are created and made for the activities in live. How was your process? Did you have any issues creating the new approach in virtual environment, to put them in the virtual environment?
More or less, there is not too much new things that we present, but how we present it, how the whole approach is based, it's based on what we saw that functions in real life, because a lot of times we can see educational materials that look great on paper, but when we test them in reality, it doesn't look that great. So maybe one of the main pluses of the whole material is actually that it's applicable, that we tested it as part of a larger training course, and it has shown as something that is applicable in real life. Also during the process of development, it wasn't really that long process, because we had the previous experience of running activities in this level and in this topic, and then we just used everything that we knew from before, and there was just the process of updating and checking if everything is up to date, and maybe checking if there are some new cool tools and tips and tricks that we can share in the material for future use.
How is that for you, Amar? How was the process of passing from the in live activity to digital activity materials? Or
yeah, this is also something apart that we all know with the COVID-19 pandemic and this transformation that all the youth work sector had to do to digital environment. We know all the issues and the problems that we had at the first days when we were even not sure how to use properly some digital tools. But now already also young people in youth working on the target group are expecting the higher level, because they are now able to provide a higher level of activity. So that's something we also took into consideration. If you are doing something in a digital environment by using digital tools, to be up to date with the expectations and the needs of the final users. And also what is something I think really important, that once like this manual is being used, as we said, digital technologies are changing, it's emerging, it's improving, and this is also, we will be trying to collect feedback from all the youth work practitioners who are using this material in order to improve. Maybe in 2 years, everything that we spoke about cyberbullying will already be outdated. So this is something that we have the power again to change and to make some small changes in order to stay up to date with the events happening. I think this is the only solution if you speak about digital technologies, about virtual environment. You absolutely have no other options but to regularly collect feedback, analyze feedback, and improve the things. This is how the digital technology works. This is how our youth work should work. And this is something that was behind, I think, all the logics and all the work we did on development of this specific manual.
thank you. I have one more last question. Is as you are coming from the field, working field with youth, youngsters, youths, and youth workers, and you are professional teachers, learners. What do you prefer more to do? Digital educational programs or in live? What is for you better, or where do you see that the participants are more involved in?
It depends again from generation to generation of participants that we work with, but I think generally speaking, we are moving a bit back to this face-to-face, because during the pandemic time we had a lot of online activities and everything moved online. From when we talk about young people, everything moved online, from schools to hanging out with friends to playing games, and everything was online. And I think now even the new generations that were born with the devices and the internet, and it's part of their lives since they exist, they are becoming more and more sick of just using digital tools and just communicating in that way. So for me personally, I think, and based on the experience, I think it's a bit better to do it face to face, but again, not to do it in traditional way with saying like, okay, now we are doing just face to face activities and workshops. We are not using our devices, but actually doing the face to face, but combining it with digital device, and I think this is the best combination. As Amar said, sometimes we will not give them post, we will give them more freedom if they want to design it in Canva. Great. If we want to have gallery of posters presented, then we can always have printer on site that we can print it out, but this combination of both I think is the key and the answer. And I think moving everything just online is not always the best, because there are more and more things now happening online and they are less and less visited. I have a feeling like it's like that.
Okay, thank you. For you?
Yeah, I also agree. For me, and as Nedim said, moving everything to digital will not be maybe the best solution, but also doing again things face to face, ignoring all the digital technologies and tools we have, will also not be definitely the best approach. So combining, taking maybe the good things from both sides is some ideal solution that looks at the moment. We still have this all the person advantages of the face-to-face education that we are used to maybe in the youth work in last decades, but the digital tools that young people are now able to use individually, independently, is something that we also try to involve as much as possible. And this is how I see it. And even if you have educational version doing fully face-to-face, some preparations or follow-up also can be done online, and this is something that you can always incorporate to make the best impact and the best results for all the participants at the workshop.
Thank you, both of you. From my side, I don't have any more questions. Maybe if you want, I would like to add, or you want to give some tips and tricks for future youth workers. What would you like to tell them or suggest them for their future work, if you all have something?
Yeah, definitely to try to use the material, and also to feel free to share feedback to any of the partners of the project. And it's a living matter during the project, and even during later after the officially project has ended. It's a living matter, and I think it's most important thing is actually to try to use the material, the methods and the approach, and to see what works and what doesn't, and to share any feedback for future improvement for the whole field, more or less.
Thank you.
Yeah, that will be more the same, and also I hope that those sessions will be useful for the youth work practitioners using them, and also I think that those sessions also have a good potential to be easily adjusted to different contexts. As I said, this is really general problem, so if someone is using this session with the small adjustments, they can multiply based on and that's something also mentioned in the manual for people who will be reading, that based on the complexity of the exercise and the background of the group that you have more experience, more developed digital competences, it can be easily adjusted to different levels to fit the needs of the all learners we have.
Thank you, Nedim. Thank you, Amar. Thank you, everyone, for watching our short podcast here. In my name and name of the whole team of Youth Power Germany, I thank you, and I encourage you to use all our materials, what we produce, not on this project and another projects. They are free for your use, and on that way, you are going to benefit, and we are also benefiting by your side by using our materials. Thank you. Bye.